But we're not done yet, because the frog who got tortured throughout the majority of Ren's story is still alive. Okay, how the freaking heck is the frog still alive after all this time? You expect me to believe that he got nothing else to do to kill himself but a gun instead? You know, after Ren completely throws him away, during that entire time, he could just find other options of killing himself. I mean, what was he been doing this entire time? Just nothing? Is that what the Wilds really want to do with him? He did nothing this entire time? Even though that this episode is so close to ending, I still have so much questions. This episode in this show has tons and tons of questions, and they never get answered. This is why this is hell. Nothing makes sense, and the brutal is just too raunchy. Anyway, the frog tries to kill himself by using a gun. However, it was one of those bang guns. Oh my god. More disturbing, and the frog is still in more pain, even though he could have died in other options. And that's how this entire Hell ride ends. Guys, after reviewing 9 terrible episodes of this marathon, none can compare to this disaster. You won't be able to survive 5 minutes in this episode, or in any other episode in the show. This episode is by far the worst episode in cartoon history. I stated that before I review this episode, and I do not lie. Nothing good could come out from this episode in the show in general. It completely scars everyone from life. Ren is by far one of the worst characters because of what he did in this episode. He is worse than Patrick Star. He is worse than Mr. Krabs. I know I keep talking about SpongeBob, but in my opinion, he's worse than every other cartoon character in the cartoon universe, or whatever you call it. I can't even tolerate anything in this. There's nothing good to come out with this. And what's sad is that some people say that this is the best episode. They're completely sick. In my opinion, most of what the original Ren and Stimpy cartoon episodes are better than this. This episode was so terrible, especially this show, that the original voice for Ren completely refused to do the job because of how raunchy it is. At least he has some intelligence, unlike the people who made this disaster. And it's actually kind of sad that this episode actually exists in real life. It completely scars everyone. You may say that it's so terrible, it's so unwatchable, then you're only scratching the surface. Because if you add adult content and done it very badly, then you get the most horrible, disturbing, awful episode you have ever seen in cartoon history. Out of all the bad movies and episodes I have seen, this is by far the most disastrous. Every time I look at it, it makes me sick. Every time I know about it, makes me disturbed and scarred. And everything in this episode is just nightmare fuel. And it's the worst thing to come from a cartoon episode. This is the worst thing any episode ever had in history. Subscribers, if you've seen any of the bad episodes except this one, then you haven't seen the worst in hell. Because Ren and Stink's Help is the hell episode that should stay in hell forever. And I really feel bad that any future reviewer who watched this episode and decides to make a review of it, you pretty much know what they're going to say or what they're going to say on how terrible this episode is. And to make things more sadder is that this episode, even if it disappears, it will never be forgotten. This episode was so infamous that I highly doubt that people will never talk about it. I mean, they will probably review something else like Jim's reviews did when he reviewed Snippy's Pregnant, But even if you review the other episodes, they're still gonna be hard to watch because of how raunchy they are. It especially ruins the careers of the writers who wrote these episodes. I'm not sure these writers are around to this day, but even if they are, how can they still live themselves after the shocking imagery that they did in When Seeks Help and the other episodes? I know this was 14 years ago, but even if this was 14 years ago, this is just very disturbing, especially that some of the writers wrote some of the terrible SpongeBob episodes. I'm looking at you, Pet Sailor Pat. After watching this entire episode, I'm really speechless and I pretty much lost my voice. Here's my rating to this episode. Yeah, it gets a half out of 10. I can't go any lower than that. There is nothing good in this episode. You must avoid it at all costs. Anyway, the only thing that I'm thankful for is that this Cartoon Crisis Marathon is over. I know I uploaded all the videos in one day. Yes, I do know what I'm talking about. But at this point, just get it over with so you don't have to do it ever again. And before any of you ask, I'm not sure if I'm ever going to review bad episodes like this ever again. If I'm going to do Cartoon Crisis, it would just be normal bad cartoon episodes. And what I mean by that is that all 9 episodes except When Seeks Help. But on the good note, I have everything scheduled out for December, which means I'm going to make Christmas reviews. And as for the crossover between me and Baseball Sam, it's going to happen alright. But it's just going to take more and more time since he's working on his part of the script. Anyway, I'm Lonely Fanboy for here, and Cartoon Crisis is officially over! Hallelujah!